Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about the wildfires in Australia that affect many parts of its country. Being that I live in North Carolina, where large wildfires are not common, wildfires are not something that I think about often. But as I have looked more into it, I have now recognized how relevant they are in some of the areas in our world today. Wildfires have an even greater impact than I ever would have imagined. Thousands of people and animals are being affected by the Australian wildfires every year. These fires are leaving them not only physically hurt, but also mentally hurt and exhausted. Today I'm going to be talking about the Australian wildfires and how they have affected the wildlife. Then I'll be talking about how it has affected the community. And finally, I'll be talking about how it has affected the firefighters. So let's jump into my very first point, which is how the Australian wildfires have affected the wildlife. According to Laura Esposito in Climate on April 11, 2020, the Australian fires have killed over 1 billion native animals due to incineration, radiant heat, smoke inhalation, and loss of food. The fires have burnt down trees, plants, and most of the animals' food sources. There have been studies that have shown a great downfall in the population of the koalas. Said by Caitlin O'Kane in CBS News, published on June 30, 2020, a report by the Parliament of the Southeastern State of Australia says, given the scale of the loss of the koala populations across New South Wales, Australia, as a result of the 2019 to 2020 bushfires, and without urgent government intervention to protect habitat and address all of the threats, the koala population will become extinct in New South Wales before 2050. Personally, I have never seen a koala, but it has truly always been a dream of mine. To think that they will become extinct in just a few years truly breaks my heart. Moving on to the next point I wanted to make, which is how the Australian wildfires have affected the community. Noted by BBC News and BBC on January 8, 2020, almost 2,000 homes have been destroyed in Australia because of these fires. And in the year 2019, at least 25 people have died. As you can see, so many families have been hurt, whether physically or mentally, by these fires. Because of the smoke and pollution, the air quality was so poor that it could cause many health problems and even death. The people in Australia had begun to wear face coverings as a precaution, but it didn't do much for them. This usually would affect people who worked outside much worse because they are constantly surrounded by the smoke and the pollution. Many people experience mental problems due to the traumatic events that come along with these fires. Some of them have had family pass away due to the fires or have experienced their home or their property burned down. These catastrophic events have brought so much fear to the Australians. The third and final point I wanted to make is how the Australian wildfires have affected the firefighters. Because these fires are so massive, they need all the help they can get. Reported by Mayo Francis in BBC on December 24, 2019, there are over 3,000 firefighters a day on the scene of these fires, putting them out little by little. Every firefighter on the scenes of these fires have family at home awaiting the call, ensuring their safety. Fires can spread so fast and they are so unpredictable. Many firefighters have died while trying to stop these fires. While firefighters are extremely educated in their line of work, it's still one of the most dangerous professions in the world. There's so much more that comes along with firefighting than we all think. They go through months of education and training to ensure that they are completely educated in their line of work. Some of the most experienced firefighters from all over the world come out to help fight these wildfires. According to Byron Pulsifer in Wise Old Sayings on October 15, 2020, nothing cries out for compassion, concern, and danger as a fire engine screams by carrying firefighters ready to do battle without flinching from any demand. Firefighters are some of the most brave people in the world. To walk into a burning fire with no fear makes them true heroes. So as I bring my speech to an end, the first point I wanted to bring up was how the Australian wildfires have affected the wildlife. Then I talked about how it affected the community, and finally I talked about how it affected the firefighters. The biggest thing I wanted to accomplish while giving my speech was to inform my class of the horrific impacts the Australian wildfires have had on the wildlife and the people surrounding it. And I hope that I've done that. Some of you in front of me today may have been affected by a fire. Whether it was your home or your land that was destroyed, or someone you know was horrifically affected by a fire. However, none of us will ever know how it feels to live through these deadly Australian wildfires, every day fearing for the well-being of your homes, fearing for your life, and fearing for the lives of your loved ones. Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Eric?
I would like to know why this topic.
So you're asking why this was a topic that I chose for my speech. Wonderful question. I've just noticed recently how, just not even in Australia, but also in California, about these fires, and I definitely just wanted to do so much research to realize how these fires are affecting the surrounding communities and the people around it. Thank you.
What would you recommend people to do, like here, say in the United States?
So you're asking what people here could do to help in Australia? Well, that's a wonderful question. There's definitely a lot of fundraisers and GoFundMe's or anything you can look up online that have some really wonderful resources to give to those communities.
Great job. Thank you.